Hello, and welcome to the Object Live. My own family is next door at the Wizard of Oz. At the Children's Theater, they have a live Toto, a live dog, and I can't compete with that. So, if anyone else wants to go. No? Okay, well, you're my family now. Thank you also to our sponsor, Ameriprise Financial. I believe some Ameriprise folks are here today. Thank you for coming. If you're in the market for a new financial advisor, see them after the show. No, don't do that. They're off duty. They might be at the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. We have a great show for you tonight. Philip Brunelle is here and a quartet of the VocalEssence Ensemble Singers. Yes. And we are celebrating the birthday of Albrecht Dürer, the German artist sometimes called the greatest printmaker of all time. A man who brought his northern sensibility of brooding darkness to the Renaissance. 555 years old. Still at it. It's a miracle. No, he's super dead. Well, we know you have a choice in where you go to celebrate the birthday of Albrecht Dürer. So thank you for spending absolutely nothing to be here with us tonight. Let's see how much you really know about Albrecht Dürer with our first quiz of the evening, which we are calling You Can Call Me Al Brecht. There we go. Okay, here's how it works. 3 questions, multiple choice, all about the art and life of Albrecht Dürer. I'll ask for 2 volunteers to come on stage to play with me. To play the quiz. You'll play as a team. We'll show you the questions on the screen. You give us your best answer. Win or lose, you go home with a big bag of museum goodies. It's actually not that big a bag. We're a nonprofit, come on. It's a reasonable amount. All right? Who wants to play? Okay, I don't know who that was. I can't see, but sure. Whoever you are, come on up. Now we're going to look for one more. All right, here, sir. Yes. All right, we got one in the front and someone coming up. Question number 1. Albrecht Dürer was the first artist to create self-portraits kind of over the course of his life. Why did his most famous self-portrait piss people off? Was it A, it shows him looking like Jesus Christ, which was considered rude and weird? Yeah, okay. B, it shows him smiling, which was considered rude and weird. Or is it C, it shows him giving the finger, then known as the digitus imputicus?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've never seen a picture of him smiling, so I think we can eliminate that one.
Yeah.
And he was too busy working with his hands to do the finger thing. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. So, Christ would do it.
Yeah.
Christ would do it, okay.
Although I'm sure he was forgiven.
Well, one would hope. So we're going with A.
We're going to go with A.
You're right.
All right. Fist bump.
It shows him looking like Jesus Christ. This is true. He used these portraits as a kind of branding, a little advertising, and nothing says I will walk on water for my clients like showing yourself as literally as Jesus. All right, question 2. Are we ready? You're doing good so far. All right. Dürer was known as the Leonardo of the North, as in Da Vinci, two inventive men with great hair who had no idea how to draw a woman. What did Da Vinci admire about Dürer? Was it A, the mechanical lion he made that could walk, wag its tail, and deliver flowers? Was it B, the amount of detail that Dürer could fit into a square inch of drawing? Or was it C, that he painted himself as Jesus Christ?
I think maybe he was envious of C. That's certainly possible. But we're not going with C.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
You want to talk about that, or?
Lion's cute, but,
I feel like he would have been holding him up maybe in a Hakuna Matata kind of Lion King, but no, that.
Whoa. Okay. We're
the hair was amazing though, so we go B.
Let's go B.
Let's go B.
Yeah.
You are right. The answer is B.
All right.
even now, it's difficult, if not impossible, to match his technical skill. But it was Da Vinci, by the way, who made that mechanical lion that delivered flowers to the king. It's good to be the king. All right, question 3, last question. Dürer famously made this engraving of a rhinoceros in 1515, which was included in textbooks for centuries. Did he actually see a rhino before making this? A, yeah. B, nein.
Ooh, that's a really famous engraving, but it looks, unless maybe he was dropping acid when he was looking at the rhino. I'm kind of in the 9 category, but that's just me. What do you
We
think?
could ask our audience too. Are we getting what kind of response we get?
We
I'm not
think
a German
9,
speaker, but I'm getting a lot of 9.
Yeah, I think he saw 9 rhinos. I'm sorry. I'll show myself out.
Well, you will after this question. But are we going with B?
Are we going with B? I think we're going with B. We're going with B.
Okay.
With B.
Well, you are right. He definitely did not. He did ask someone who had seen a rhino to describe it to him, and it was all downhill from there. Thank you so much for playing. You both. We do have something for you. Don't go away. All right, how's everyone doing? Have you seen this yet? The head of Albrecht Dürer, we have it right here in a jar. On my desk. After the show, come up and take a look. It's pretty amazing. Made out of pantyhose, I think. By one of our audience members who shall remain nameless. Catherine, this was in the 6th grade, right? Okay. All right, it's time to call a curator. I'm going to try calling Katie Luber, our museum director and president, who is actually a scholar of Albrecht Dürer, and hopefully she can tell us something about him. Good thing we have a working lobster phone for just this occasion, right?
Tim, this is Katie. What a surprise.
Katie, I can hear you're busy, but I'm here at MIA with like 300 people, and we're hoping you can tell us something about why you love Albrecht Dürer and the Renaissance.
I was 26 when I first realized that Albrecht Dürer was my pal for life. I think that what I love about the Renaissance is that the Renaissance is when things change. There's so much social change, religion is changing, and the whole world shifts.
So how does that work out for Dürer?
Dürer was an incredible craftsman from a child. He has this ability to capture things with a stylus on paper that mere mortals cannot. And I think that it's a moment when individuals are rewarded for their innovation. That is maybe for us what is still the through line to today. The idea that you can use your own intuition, your intellect, your genius, and you can become successful.
So what does Dürer bring to the Renaissance party?
His ability to master the material parts of painting and printmaking are something that very few artists actually had. So he takes his very graphic knowledge of the way to create drawings, and then he makes paintings. But I think the idea that if you can do something with your hands, that equates to being able to do something with your mind. And I think that's something that comes out of the Renaissance as well. He is very intellectual, but he's very business-minded. And I think that's one of the most modern things about him, is that he's so very, very business-oriented. He's looking to make money.
He paints these self-portraits. What can we say about his sense of self?
He's so beautiful. I mean, he is so beautiful. And he knows that he is beautiful. And he had a strong sense of self-possession, let's put it that way. And he was very confident in his ability. But then he writes, he famously wrote to his friend Willibald Pirkheimer when he was in Venice, "At home, I'm a parasite. and here I'm a gentleman. I mean, it's sort of painful, isn't it? I mean, I find it kind of painful to think about him realizing that, and this is, 5 years after he's painted that self-portrait, the 1505 self-portrait, that, he's still, even when he's painting that, there's something about him that's so insecure. And I think that's what's so human about him. I love that about our friend Albrecht.
So he doesn't have the longest life, but it is a full life. What can we learn from that?
I like to think that in the span of any human's life, we all have a chance to do a lot. And we can change, and he changes so much. He's so open and adaptive to what is new in his world. I'd like to think about what he would have done with an iPhone. He certainly would have used it to make art. And what do? We use it to look at Instagram. What the Renaissance taught us is that curiosity is available to everyone. Be curious and go look at art.
Katie, thank you so much. Enjoy yourself wherever you are.
Thanks, Tim. I love talking about my boyfriend Albrecht with you.
Katie Luber, everyone, on the lobster phone. Be curious. Go see some art. All right. Well, my guests tonight are Philip Brunelle and 4 members of the VocalEssence Ensemble Singers, one of the great choirs in the world, based right here in the Twin Cities. Philip Brunelle began VocalEssence in 1969 and has led it ever since. He became a church organist in Bloomington at age 14, was one of the youngest musicians ever hired by the Minnesota Orchestra, was the music director of the Minnesota Opera for 17 years, has performed with the Rolling Stones, and is an honorary member of the Order of the British Empire. Please welcome Philip Brunelle. It's a real honor to have you back at the museum with us. So you began VocalEssence in 1969.
I was 5 at the time.
Oh, of course. Yes, I know. I just wonder if it felt sort of rebellious to be in your 20s and starting a choir at that moment, or had you always just loved Bach and Handel more than pop music?
No, I started it because at that time in 1969, there weren't any other community choirs like this. And the choirs that were around, which were great in the colleges and churches, the music was pretty much, there were about 10 pieces that everybody performed. And I thought, those are great. Brahms' Requiem, all of that. But I thought, but there's so much more music. So I thought the way I could do it, because people who know me know that one of my mottos is you don't know if you don't ask.
Yeah.
So I thought, I got to start with a bang. So I picked up the phone and called this guy named Aaron Copeland and said, Mr. Copeland, I would like you to come to Minneapolis and conduct your choral music. And he said, young man, no one has ever asked me to do that. Tell me the date, I'll be there.
Whoa. Yeah. That's starting with a bang, right?
Yeah, you have to do it. It was the same thing. I one year needed a narrator, and I thought,
okay,
James Earl Jones. That's who it should be. So
what's he up to? Yeah.
Well, I called him and said,
okay,
I would like to commission a piece for narrator and orchestra. And he said, for me? And I said, yes. No one's ever asked that before. He came. Yeah.
Well, as you said, carpe diem, right?
Yep.
It's a big thing in the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. You did actually, ironically, play with the Rolling Stones at some point then. What was that like?
Well, you have to know that, of course, Philip Brunelle and pop music are not really
tell me about
together.
That.
So when the woman who was booking the Rolling Stones needed a choir here in Minneapolis, she called me, and I called my son Tim and said, I got this call about the Rolling Stones, and instantly he said, Dad, just say yes. So we appeared with the Rolling Stones. Yeah.
Okay, and what was the experience like? What happened? You met the guys?
No, it was great because they had scheduled a 2-hour rehearsal, And I thought, we don't need that much time. And so we got together, and Mick Jagger said to, well, no, in fact, I checked up about him and found out that we are the same age, born in the same month.
You're kidding.
But he has more wrinkles than I do. You know, right.
Okay, that's fair.
So anyway,
been through a lot.
we came and we rehearsed, and after 10 minutes, he said, we don't need any more rehearsal. We're fine. See you tonight. So that was
wow.
it.
Yeah,
it was great.
that's a great compliment from the Mick. Yeah. Today we're talking about the Renaissance, specifically German Renaissance, right? I just wonder what you could say about the music of that time and place. What do you find interesting and sort of enjoyable about it?
Well, as I will say when the singers are up here and talking, one of the things that's fascinating is that the composers you will hear tonight all knew Dürer. And so there's wonderful connections at that time in the early 1500s between the German and Flemish composers who traveled around and Dürer. And of course, Dürer was also part of Maximilian I's court. So because of that, he knew all the musicians in the court. So there were a lot of connections that happened with Dürer and the world of music at that time.
Right. So visual artists, musicians, they're all
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. I guess one last thing I did want to ask you before we bring up the choir is music has clearly been a part of your life for forever, I guess you could say.
Well, I didn't start as a boy soprano till I was 4.
Okay.
So,
All right. The first few years we can excuse,
yeah,
I
I was
guess.
getting used to it. And then I started piano the same year, and then later percussion, and then organ. And
Wait, really? You started piano at 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What has it meant to you after all this time? Like when you reflect on what a life in music has been for you?
I can't imagine any other occupation than that for me. It has been rich. It has been wonderful. It has fed my soul. And I love the fact that there is so much music out there. And it's just a joy to share it with audiences.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, the ensemble singers did a program of all French choral music. And people, I mean, many of the singers had not sung this music before, but the audience was like, this is so beautiful. And I said, yes. And in January, when we had John Rutter here, and we did a concert at the St. Paul Cathedral, and the place was packed, and we closed the program with a beautiful piece based on a poem of James Weldon Johnson called The Creation. And after, if you think back to January, when it was over, the number of people who came up and said, we needed this right now at this time. And it was true. And so I've been happy to be able to do music that really does speak to people and feeds their soul, because that's really what music can do.
Yeah, I agree. All right, should we bring up our singers?
We shall.
Okay,
move
I'll
over
let you
there.
introduce them.
Okay. So a little bit about Dürer and music before they sing. Sir, as I mentioned, he was very much tied in with the musical world at that time because of being with Emperor Maximilian I. He traveled with the imperial court, and that gave him access to people like Heinrich Isaac and Ludwig Senfel, who were the chapel masters for the court. He was also fascinated with music theory and was a friend of instrument makers, created illustrations with complex instruments like the lute. He also worked frequently with musicians and instrumentalists, from cheerful street pipers to lute-playing angels in religious scenes. He was an avid reader and a collector of all the writings of Martin Luther. He intended to draw and engrave a portrait of Luther, but it never it never happened for them to meet. So based on Psalm 46, which is Martin Luther's most famous hymn, Ein Festeburg, it's also regarded as the greatest hymn of the Reformation, which the text, which you're going to hear in German, is basically, our God is the defense and tower, a good armor and weapon. So what we're going to hear is the melody of this, followed by a setting of Ein Festeburg by the German composer Johann Walter, who was a friend of Martin Luther and his chief musical advisor. Walter was the man who made the first music dictionary in German with 3,000 musical terms. So you can see how the melody sort of weaves in and out with all the harmony. The piece you just heard is very typical of the music that Dürer would have known and heard and been familiar with. So I want to introduce our quartet tonight: Katie Boardman, Catherine Terres, Andy McCullough, and David Gindra. So our next composer, a friend of Dürer, was Ludwig Senfl. It sounds like sinful, but actually it's S-E-N-F-L, Senfl, okay? He was the Kapellmeister for Maximilian I and was important in developing German folk songs and creating polyphonic compositions. So for instance, here is this Latin motet from the Book of Job. This is not a real upper. Well, first of all, the Book of Job is not a real upper. You know. So the text translates basically, when Job was sick, he wept and said, "My relatives have forsaken me, my flesh is changed, my days will be shortened." Okay. So the little instrument I'm playing is not a harpsichord. A harpsichord, first of all, would have been much bigger. This is called a virginal, and you can guess where the name came from. But it's called a virginal, right? And it was a small little, it's basically the miniature harpsichord. And with, and the difference between the harpsichord, we won't get into a big discussion, but the difference between the harpsichord and the piano is that if you came and looked at this, all of the notes here have a little plectrum. And so they're all strings, and it's you puck, bunk, bunk like that. So it doesn't have any carrying power. You have to keep going. There's no pedal to sustain anything with that. With the piano, what ended up happening was that there was like a mallet that struck the key, and it was also came into the time in which it was like a strung wire, and with that you also had a pedal that could sustain what you did, and so that was why at the beginning it was known as a pianoforte, because it could play piano and forte because of that. So anyway, that's enough about the virginal and what is. So what you need to know is that not all of Sentful's music was mournful. And Katie's going to sing just a little solo by Sentful in German, of course. And the important thing is, the text is, "Oh, give this guy a penny, then we can have more wine." And so the two words that she will emphasize are Pfennig and Wein.
So
So the last piece is by Heinrich Isaac, who was also in the court of Maximilian I, was a friend of Dürer's. He was born in the Netherlands, but traveled into Germany and all parts of Europe. Definitely one of the most popular composers of his time, writing masses, motets, secular songs, and before he went and spent time with Dürer, he was employed by Lorenzo de' Medici for a decade, and then moved over to be with Maximilian. The quartet is going to sing this lovely little Isaac motet, Vergangen ist mir Glück. Gone is all my joy and strength, while you and I are parted, because as we are parted, I am broken-hearted.
Let's hear it for the VocalEssence Ensemble Singers. Thank you so much. Led by Philip Brunelle. Thank you. We'll have Philip back up here for our second quiz in just a little bit. That was wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Now it's time for our story. Well, let's go back to 1484 in Nuremberg, Germany, where Albrecht Dürer is 13 years old when he makes his first self-portrait. One of the first ever, certainly the first in which someone is doing the finger gun gesture, like, check me out, check you out. Dürer was to follow his father into goldsmithing, but he makes this picture to say, sorry, this is who I am, an artist. And his father says, I know, that's fine. I have 17 other children. Which is true, though only to survive to adulthood. So Dürer goes to a local artist and apprentices for 4 years until he's 19 and ready for his Wanderjahr, literally his travel year, hiking year, which is such a German thing, right? To become a journeyman and see the world. Except Dürer hikes for 4 years, mostly in the north, the Netherlands, seeing a world that mostly does not exist, a world of myth and wonder, letting his imagination wander. He draws the land and himself and pillows, sometimes himself with pillows, until his father says enough. And almost as soon as Dürer returns to Nuremberg, his father marries him off to a woman he doesn't know, named Agnes. Dürer gives Agnes a painting of himself, holding a thistle, a symbol of fidelity, and also a drawing of herself with her head in her hands, like, what have I gotten myself into? Then he leaves again for Venice, just as the plague is hitting Nuremberg. Supposedly, maybe not right away, but at some point he goes, bringing his strange, dark visions down to Italy like a rustling wind, as one historian puts it, from the forests of the north. Well, there are a few signs that Dürer's maybe not cut out for marriage. His woodcut of his friends at the bath, naked except for the guy at the left with a spigot in front of his... a Wasserhahn in German, literally watercock. Look, don't make me spell this out, okay? Oh, and the guy in the middle in a thong and shower cap playing the flute, both of whom, it seems, are Dürer himself. Dürer is gone for almost a year, immersing himself in the Renaissance that has been going on in Italy for more than a century already. Since the moment, perhaps, in 1345, when the poet Petrarch goes into a library in Verona and rediscovers the letters of Cicero, the Roman statesman, and is so inspired he writes Cicero a letter as though they're old friends. Hey, Sea Dog, got your note? Which is weird, but this is what people are doing now, collapsing the past and the present as though the Middle Ages never happened. Know thyself was the phrase on the temple of Apollo at Delphi in ancient Greece, right? And in the Middle Ages, if the Middle Ages were all about knowing God instead, it's now during the Renaissance that people are again thinking about thyself. Well, no one knows thyself better than Dürer. When he returns to Germany, he makes another self-portrait, this time completely nude, and then another, looking like an Italian stallion, the guy you call when your husband is away, or your wife. And then he paints himself like Jesus. He includes the date 1500 over the initials, which happen to be the same as Anno Domini, the year of the Lord. He includes an inscription. I, Albrecht Dürer of Nuremberg, portrayed myself in everlasting colors, aged 28 years. The artist, he seems to say, is as much a creator as God. In Venice, Dürer learned perspective, seeing the world as it is, right? He saw people drawing people, realistically, as though they were truly seeing each other for the first time in a long time. And now, back in Germany, he is drawing life itself. He draws a rabbit, so charming and real it becomes instantly famous. He makes a watercolor of a small chunk of earth, 1 square foot of creation, which becomes known as the great piece of turf. No one had ever painted dirt before. There is another starting point for the Renaissance, after all. April 26, 1336, when Petrarch climbs a mountain in Provence. His brother goes straight up. Petrarch takes the scenic route. The closer we stay to nature, Dürer says, the closer we stay to God. For dust thou art, and to dust thou shalt return. Agnes is like, okay, Jesus. You're never around. You're drawing pictures of dirt. Everyone has seen your penis but me. At least make me some money. So in the early 1500s, he makes prints that Agnes takes to fairs and shops and sells. Pictures of Adam and Eve, the apocalypse, something called syphilitic man, a naked guy covered in sores with the zodiac above him because syphilis, doctors say, is caused by the stars. People love it. Enough that Dürer buys Agnes a new house, 5 stories with an observatory on top, so he can watch the stars. And one day the Holy Roman Emperor stops in, Maximilian I. The last knight, as people call him, who loves jousting so much he travels with his own coffin, just in case. Well, Maximilian likes Dürer almost as much as Dürer does. When he sees Dürer on a shaky ladder, he tells his friend, hey, go hold his ladder. And the guy refuses because an artist is beneath him. So Maximilian says, fine, I'll do it. I can make a noble out of a peasant, but I can't make an artist like Dürer out of a noble. Dürer is like, you had me at Dürer. What can I do for you? Make me an arch, Maximilian says, because kings love arches. Showing all the great things they've done, right? So Dürer carves 195 separate wood blocks, prints them on 36 sheets, then glues the sheets together to make the largest print ever assembled. Then he makes about 700 sets of these prints. We acquired one of them here at the museum in 2013. You see it there. Maximilian puts an arch in every town hall and palace in Germany to remind people of his love. Dürer is now on the emperor's payroll, an annual stipend, which gives him time to think about his favorite things, himself, and nature. Dürer trades his drawings for rare plants and animals. He puts animals in almost everything he draws now. Mary at the Nativity with dogs. Mary with a dragonfly. Mary with a monkey, which is a creature Dürer eventually will buy for himself. And then there's the rhinoceros. In 1515, a sultan in India gives a live rhinoceros to the king of Portugal, who has no idea what to do with it, and decides to regift it to the Pope. He chains the rhino to the deck of a boat and sends it down the coast. But when the boat gets to Italy, it sinks. Dürer hears about this and makes his famous illustration, which becomes a kind of meme, showing up in a fountain in Palermo, a mural in Colombia, a clock in the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. Dürer is one of the most famous artists in the world now. But when Maximilian dies, he decides he should go west to see the coronation of the new emperor, Charles V, ask about his stipend. One last Wanderjahr, this time with Agnes. It is a depressing trip. Charles is a brute who will soon attack Rome, the beginning of the end of the Italian Renaissance. Dürer seems more excited by whales. In Antwerp, he sees the whale bones strapped to the town hall, said to be the bones of a giant whose hand was cut off and thrown into the sea. Antwerp meaning hand thrown away. Then he hears of a whale stranded off the Netherlands. Over the past few months, Dürer has already collected a coconut, a Turkish whip, an ivory skull, a tortoiseshell, 2 parrots in a cage, well, and the monkey. But he can't pass up this whale. Some 100 fathoms long, supposedly, about 600 feet. Well, Agnes, who has spent the trip selling Dürer's prints, is like, no, you're on your own. So he heads north, gets on a boat, and puts out in a storm. By the time he gets to where the whale was said to be, it's gone. Dürer returns without whale, but with miasma, as people call it, possibly malaria. And so, back in Nuremberg, he draws one last self-portrait and mails it to a doctor. Dürer is the same gorgeous guy, naked except for a thong, pointing to his abdomen. There, he writes in German, where the yellow spot is located and where I point my finger, there it hurts. When he dies at 56, his portrait is hung in the city hall, the one like Jesus. And 3 days after his death, the story goes, his body is taken from his tomb, like Jesus, by artists who make a death mask from his face. Presumably, they put him back. But when his grave is opened again in the 1800s, when he is recognized as the greatest drawer who ever lived, there's another man inside and a heap of skulls. No Dürer. As though he had returned to nature completely. Dust to dust. That's our story for today. All right. It's time for our last quiz of the night, which we're calling It's the Renaissance, Man. All right. Same as our first quiz, 3 questions, multiple choice, all about the art of the Renaissance. Let's get Phil Brunelle back up here. So I'm going to need one more volunteer. Can I get a volunteer to... Oh, we already got a hand up here. Sorry, folks, she's quick. Come on up. And your name?
Sabrina.
Sabrina, meet Philip.
Hi there.
You guys are a team.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay. Question number 1. The Renaissance was not actually called that until the 1800s, long after it was over, right? What did people in the 1400s call their own era? Was it A, the age of light? Was it B, the age of man? Was it C, nasty, brutish, and oh my God, did your arm just fall off from the plague? Or was it D, the 1400s? What do we think?
I don't think it was C or D. No. I think we start with those, crossing those off.
So which one do you go with?
B.
Let's try it.
Age of man?
Yep.
All right. That is not correct, I'm afraid. It is, in fact, D. 1400s.
Makes a lot of sense.
1400, as they would call it in Italy. You know, when your life expectancy is 35, you're not thinking about the big picture, right? It's just it's day by day, just hoping not to get the plague and expire like these guys, I guess. All right, question 2. We're going to try again. Okay. One of the following phrases is the title of a famous Renaissance artwork. The rest are songs by the 1970s rock band Jethro Tull, if you all remember them. All right? Which one is the artwork? And Philip, we know you're a fan of pop music, so this should be easy for you. Was it A, the story of the hare who lost his spectacles? Was it B, minstrel in the gallery? Was it C, the garden of earthly delights? Or was it D, bungle in the jungle? Now remember, we're looking for the artwork title. So
We're going with C.
I heard some yeps. All right, audience is chiming in. You have some support out there for C. You are correct.
Yeah.
The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. He famously made fantastical scenes of heaven and hell. By the way, this is not that picture, okay? This is what happens when you ask ChatGPT to do Jethro Tull in the spirit of Hieronymus. I think it kind of works, though. Got to find some use for AI, and this is what we do. All right, last question. You're 1 for 1. Let's see which way you're going here.
There we go.
All right. 3 of these phrases are titles of artworks by Albrecht Dürer. 1 is the official motto of St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota. Which one is the Oli motto? Is it A, Apocalypsis cum figuris? Is it B, Fram Christman Crossman? Is it C, Christus als Schmerzenmann? Or is it D, Ritter, Todd, and Teufel, which kind of sounds like a Renaissance law firm?
Oh, it's obvious. We know it's B.
We do. Okay.
Yes.
All right. You going with that?
And by the way, it's from.
Oh, well. I think we got a winner right here. The answer is, in fact, B. All right. What does it mean? You want to tell us, Philip? You know what it means?
No, but David, tell us.
Onward, Heisman, Crossman.
Right.
Good enough for me.
All you do is ask someone who graduated from St. Olaf. That's how you know.
I always thought it was college and choral singing or something like that. No? All right, this is much more hardcore.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. All right, thank you so much for playing, guys. Don't go away without your goodie bag. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, we have one more treat for you guys. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, folks, come on up.
A little encore. Let's bring the VocalEssence Ensemble singers back.
According to Peter Schickele, PDQ Bach was known as the last and least of Johann Sebastian's children. He was known as a pimple on the face of music. He composed this carol during his Soust period, which was followed by his contrition period. It's called Throw the Yule-log on, Uncle John, or Throw the Yule-log on Uncle John. And also, Hear the Clock Strike, Uncle John, or Hear the Clock Strike, Uncle John.
Throw the Yule-log on, Uncle John. Throw the Yule-log on, Uncle John. Throw the Yule-log on, throw the Yule-log on Uncle John. coming to the door.
10 o'clock of Christmas morn, and Uncle John's already on the floor.
Through the weather's bitter cold, there's not a frown to mar the festive mood.
Wait till they discover that old Uncle John has eaten all the food.
Hear the hall clock strike, Uncle John. Hear the hall clock strike, Uncle John. Hear the hall clock strike, hear the hall strike, hear the hall clock strike, Uncle John. Please will you come to Uncle John? To Uncle John. For Uncle John. For Uncle John.
Please will you come to Uncle John?
That no good for nothing.
When will you come to Uncle
When
John?
will you come to Uncle John?
When will you come to Uncle John?
When will you come to Uncle John? Oh, when will you come to
Thank you so much, Philip Brunelle and VocalEssence. That is our show for today.